me to do the honors, Jinx. This is the first time we've had a chat, but this is a very momentous occasion, and I'm very blessed to be part of it. As many of you know, Jinx grew up in Riverdale, Arkansas, a very tiny town, riding broncs and starting young horses. Did you ever imagine, Jinx, that your life would wind up on the racetrack 1,500 weds later?
Never thought, had any idea it would ever happen.
Never had any idea that it would ever happen, that I would be on the racetrack. But I wound up getting there through rodeos. And an owner saw me win the bull ride in Memphis, Tennessee, and asked me to come break his yearlings. And they went to the track, I followed them here.
What do you remember about your first days being on the racetrack? Obviously very different from the rodeo circuit, and you started out at 19, like where many of us in the room started, making left-hand turns as a hauler.
Well, it was just, I've always liked horses all my life. And anyway, I wound up it was a good thing for me to do, to come to the horse. When I got out of high school, I took a job at Stinger Sewing Machine Factory. And that lasted until about 3 weeks or so. There was a rodeo in Salem, Arkansas, so I was already entered in it. I said, I'm out of here.
Like many on the racetrack, when we do try to leave and go do something else, it is like a vacuum and just sucks you back into the industry.
Horse racing is a very exciting thing, and you can see it when people have a horse running, they come to the track. The worst part is when they bring their little kids, and the little kids are up there and the parents are screaming and hollering, and the kids start crying. They've never seen their parents act like that.
Now, some of your first moments, Jinx, were with the great Lyle Whiting and also the great Frank Kirby. What did they teach you that you still carried on throughout your career? What lessons?
Well, first thing is you have to be there 7 days a week. That's the first thing. And early in the morning, and when I first came to the racetrack, I started working. The grooms and hot walkers weren't allowed to kind of hang out in the grandstand.
Okay.
If you're over there, they would tell you your place is back at the barn. And that's where a lot of them belong now. A lot of them over there should be back taking care of the horses, and they're over there, hanging out over there. But anyway, it's a good racing is really exciting, and it's something to get into it. When I came to the track, they said it was the sport of kings. I found out you almost have to be a king to afford it.
That's still relevant today.
But we work it out. We keep, trying to make everything work, and sometimes you get lucky and get a good horse and it works. So it's a good sport for anybody.
So 1967, Jinks saddled his first win as a trainer with Hidden Pocket. What do you remember about that day and where was it?
Well, a week before, I had Bobby Barrett on the horse. The week before, he was 6th in front and fell off the 8th pole. And so, anyway, everyone thought he jumped off. I said, well, nobody's going to jump off from a field of horse unless they go nutty. So I asked if we wanted to ride him back, and when I ran him back, I ran him, and he won by 6 that time. So, but he was my first winner, and of course you do remember that.
Okay. What track was that? What track?
That was Sportsman's Park.
Okay.
It was a 5/8 mile bull ring at that point, and they pulled the starting gate off at the 8th pole, and the horse running far in front, and he saw the gate there, and the gate crew was standing on the gate and spooked him, so he ducked, and when he did, Bobby fell off. The public thought he jumped.
You knew better.
Oh, I knew
You knew
better.
better. So something that has happened in our industry industry, and one of the worst things in our industry is a barn fire.
Oh, yeah.
And you experienced that in 1970. You lost your entire stable in the Washington Park barn fire. How did you rebuild from something that traumatic? And not only was it traumatic emotionally, but financially as well.
The next day, I went and bought a helmet. I still had my boots at the motel, so I bought a helmet and had a family I had to support, so I started galloping horses and wound up eventually, I think it took me about 6 years to get back into a good stable.
So was there ever after that a moment that you might have considered leaving the business?
No, other than I got drafted in the Army.
That'll do it.
So, yeah, other than that, I never really thought about ever leaving the racetrack. Never. In fact, see Mr. Sell back there, his grandfather was here when I came. And so I remember seeing him. I didn't know, never met him, but I did see him here.
So at one point, you had a barn of more than 70 horses under your care across multiple tracks, which we did see trainers during that time start to branch out in other divisions and other circuits.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to scale back a little bit?
You know what? I like to be every day, see the horses and look at them and make sure I know that they're okay. And also, when you get strung out so far out, you lose contact with some of the horses, and you know, and you do get a lot of owners, and you wind up finding out, or at least I did, find out more on the phone than you are at doing your job. So I didn't much like that. So I scaled back.
A very important thing in our industry is relationships and how we develop those relationships and keep those relationships. You have done a phenomenal job at that. Have long-term relationships with owners like Patricia and Buddy Glass, with Bob and Gallegos. What does loyalty mean to you in this industry?
Well, you know, they have stayed with me for over 30 years, each one of them. And anyway, I've been for a lot of years, and of course, they know what I know. I want my owners to know every day what I know about their horse, but I don't want anything to jump up and, you know, you get to tell them something or don't tell them something, and then something bad happens, and you're like a kid who gets a speeding ticket, he's afraid to tell his parents, who's going to tell them eventually, and that's when your finger jumps up, hits you in the face.
I love that. So 2011 was a very big year for the Fires Barn, Arch, and the Arkansas Derby. What do you remember most about that day and him coming into that race?
Well, you know, there's a nice little horse. My brother Manny, he broke him, and anyway, he broke him and got him going. Excuse me.
No, you're fine.
But anyway, when he came to the track, he thought it was a lazy horse. But I said, don't wake up, sweep the line. When he came to the track, first time we worked him, we felt like he had something going for him. And he just continuously got better and better. And when he won the Arkansas Derby here, we were really excited about getting to go to the Kentucky Derby. We got to the Kentucky Derby, unfortunately, we drew the one hole, which was bad back then because it had to put two gates together.
Still not great now. It's still not great now.
No, well, it's better now because they got a twin-stall gate. But back then, when he took the first step out, it was a little bit in the bank. Well, 1,000 pound landed on one leg, and they got a condyle fracture. But he ran the whole race. John Court was on him, and he was trying to pull him up the whole race, and he still ate 4 horses on a broken leg.
Wow, that's hard. But I love the fact that Arch was kind of a family horse, if you will. Your former son-in-law, John Court, was the pilot, and your daughter Candace ponied him in those races, and Aaron Court was exercise rider. What did it mean to you to really have your family involved in such a time in your career.
It was very important to have my family there, and in fact, a lot of them are here now. They came to this, but anyway, it was very important to have my family there, and I think they had kind of cut some people off coming into the winter circle because it got so big.
It's always the Arkansas people that flood the winter circle. Have you noticed that? Like whole counties, I think, flood the winter circles here.
Anyway, it was a really exciting time, and my son over there, he got to come in for it. He was,
Well,
they look at me.
speaking of family, you're very well represented today. Can you tell us, I know it's probably half of Riverdale, Arkansas from back in the day, but who's here today to share this moment with you?
I'm sorry.
Who's here in your family to share this with you?
Son, my daughter were here, brothers, both sisters, and nieces, nephews. They're all here, so I think if somebody wanted to rob Broomville, it'd be the time to do it.
Nobody's home right now.
They look down at 47, population 47, I think all of them are here.
I was gonna say 45 are from the Myers family, right?
Yeah.
So Jinks has an amazing record, 47 consecutive years with at least one win right here at Oaklawn. What does Oaklawn mean to you?
Oaklawn is one, of course, I'm from Arkansas, so I really think Oaklawn is the best place I've ever been. Churchill is my second, but Oaklawn, you know, I came here and you know everybody when you walk through the stands, everybody knows you and you know them, half of them anyway. And people are really excited about racing here in Arkansas. A lot of tracks you go to, there's no one in the stands, and that's disappointing. A lot of it. Unfortunately, I think simulcast probably has taken a lot of that away. Years ago, people used to come here and just owners would buy condos, stay here, and they really enjoyed racing. And of course, if you go out there, Arkansas people, they just flood this thing. If you go out walking through this grandstand, $2 betters, they ride harder than the jocks do.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Sometimes there's an extra like $150 on a horse coming down the lane and you just get nailed, you blame all the betters.
They're pretty exciting.
Well, as a fellow Arky bred, I concur with you that Oaklawn is above and beyond what the industry standard is. And you've seen a lot of changes in Oaklawn from over the years. New barns, new management, casino, dining. Did you ever think that when you got to Oaklawn back in the day, this is what it would become?
I can remember. Right now, I used to ride horses across from the barn over there.
Across the July.
Across Central, you couldn't get across there now with a bulldozer without getting on. But back then, we rode horses over here and trained them, and then rode back to the barns, and also back, there used to be a drive-in theater, and they had a barn out there, and we ride horses over here and gallop them and take them back across the highway. But, like before, this town got so busy.
Well, I love in Hot Springs, you might go out to eat after the races, there's racing on TVs, people are talking at the bar or at the tables, what they played that day, they might have lost, they might have given a donation, as I like to call it. Hopefully we want our fans to withdraw some of that money. But Oaklawn, you've had some really good memories here as well.
Oh, yes, I have had good memories of Oaklawn. In fact, I remember Nancy's grandfather. He was training horses, and her dad galloped horses here with me. Richard.
Tough old dogs, weren't they? So, Brady,
Anyway, it's been a good run. So I've enjoyed it, and I guess if I had to do over, I'd probably do the same thing.
well, I always speak about how racing is generational. It's a family business. And this is right, I hope, 7 of your 8 racing industry.
They did. In fact, a couple of them are blacksmiths, trainers, and exercise boys. Outriders. They've done it all.
So Jinx's brother, Early Fires, is in the Racing Hall of Fame. What was it like watching his success?
Well, it was good. In fact, he won a lot of races on some of my horses with Bob and Val Yegas had there. Won a lot of stakes for them back there. So Early, he had a good career.
I don't know if many of you in this room know this, but the Ironman, Perry Oots, is a Fires cousin. He's rode more races than anyone in the history of the sport. Is there something in the water in Riverdale? What's the secret?
Well, we kind of brought Perry to the racetrack in Chicago, and Jackie kind of helped teach him how to ride. And then he got up there with Eddie Reynolds. I couldn't get it for Eddie Reynolds, but at that time I lost my horse in the fire and things. But anyway, Bill Danner came up and talked him into coming back to Ohio with him, and that's how he got rolling.
Okay.
Bill Danner got him really started.
So your wife Penny has been by your side for nearly 48 years.
48 years.
What does her support mean to you?
A lot. She was very instrumental in helping me keep things organized, and she used to do all the bookkeeping, which was real good. When you're training horses, you don't have time to keep books very well. But anyway, she's unfortunately not here right now, but had a little sickness. But anyway, we were married. We have been married 48 years. Next couple of days, I think we got an anniversary of 2 days from now. So we, in the long run, and of course my owners, I want to thank them for sticking on me and trusting me with their horses over the years.
So there's actually a story, Jinx, about you missing only one morning after you broke your sternum. I mean, where does that toughness come from? Does that go back to your Bronx days?
You know, when you get hurt, you got to get up and keep moving.
That's right. That's right.
So, yeah, that's one of the things I guess you get rodeo when you get hurt, you better get up and get on the fence because that bull will have you.
You speak from experience with that.
Oh, I've been there.
So you've also suggested, Jinx, that this might be your last season at Oaklawn. How do you know when it is time?
Well, I really didn't have a choice this time. My wife was sick, so.
It's been an amazing time that you've been in the industry, and one thing that is synonymous across the industry, Jinx, is when people talk about you or the family, there's always the utmost respect. I've heard a lot of trash talk, but I've never heard one person say something ill about you.
Thank you.
That's a testament.
Thank you.
So when people say living legend, what does that mean? What is that definition to you?
I think I'm getting old.
That's not what I was expecting, but that's okay. When you do walk away from training, what do you want people to remember the most about you? Was it the wins or something else?
Well, of course, everybody likes to remember that you did win, but I don't know, I guess just your everyday beating the bushes, as they say, never, I was always on the job, so that's what came up.
There's never a morning when I'm out watching training that I don't specifically look for you on the pony. Still getting on the pony every day.
Still just got off in the earlier.
So if a 19-year-old kid walked onto the backstretch, kind of like you did, what advice would you give them?
I'm sorry.
So So if a 19-year-old comes to the barn area, which you kind of had that same upbringing, what advice would you give?
Yeah, if they're willing and you think they're serious, you try to help them, but if they're just there to just be there, you know, you just kind of maybe turn them away, but you don't jump in and try to help them. But you can tell when a person comes and he's serious about wanting to go to work and serious about what he's doing. Doesn't take long to tell.
There's always blood, sweat, and tears given in our industry. There's a lot of highs, there's a lot of lows, but those highs seem to outweigh some of the off days.
Yeah, the one thing about this business, you'll find you're gonna get more bills than you do checks. But the thing about it, you just hope that it's worth it, you know, because you will, something you really like, you will, you know, put up with it.
Sometimes those bills have to go to the wayside on occasion. Jinks, 1,500 wins, nearly 5 decades of success at Oaklawn, a grade 1 victory, generations of family in racing. But when people describe you, they don't start with the trophies, they start with kindness. And I think that is going to be your legacy.
Thank you. I don't know what to say.
Everybody, please give it